Hello and
Hello.
welcome. We're all live. So, welcome, Kaylee.
Hello, thank you for having me on with you today.
Thank you for coming. It's great. It's good. I'm so looking forward to this. This is our first live on Get Unsuspended. So, it's going to be great. It's going to be informative, hopefully. And hopefully, anyone who has any comments or questions, please feel free to put them in the comments and we'll see what we can do about answering your questions.
Yes.
So today we're going to talk about violations and suspensions, and I really wanted to start off about the Seller Central violation or suspension, really, because when someone gets suspended before they've even sold anything, that is so difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, and I
Yes.
think, people are like, "Oh no, what have I done wrong already?"
And they're so excited and they just want to go out and go, I can sell stuff on Amazon, and all of a sudden you can't.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult, isn't it? So I think the advice that we can give them on their suspension when it's a Seller Central one is really just to go out, have a look at the Seller Central. I know that there's an area you can go into in the settings where you can look at things, isn't there?
Yeah, and I think the main thing is read the email because especially with these ones, Amazon are quite specific about what the issue is. Sometimes there's a bit of guesswork trying to work it out, but with these ones, they're quite specific. And sometimes it is only temporary while they verify something.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true. And it's also the timeline as well, isn't it? If you don't read the emails properly, the timeline can be
yeah.
so short.
Have a
Mm,
look at exactly what it is that they're telling you that you've done or you haven't done, and, do you need to respond in a certain time? But often with the verification and when you're first starting, it is a temporary because they basically want to make sure that you are who you've said you are, because they're not gonna let anyone sell on Amazon before they've kind of verified all that. So don't necessarily, if it is a temporary one, especially be that disheartened right at the beginning because it's just Amazon doing a check basically, and fingers
mm.
crossed that you should be all okay, but definitely just read the email because, like I said, in these ones, it does tend to be quite specific about, maybe you need to update your card details, they need to match, something like that. So yeah, read the email and note if there's a deadline, definitely.
Yeah, because it's one of those things, isn't it, that a lot of people don't read the email. They get the email, it goes into their inbox, they lose the email, they don't read it properly, the time goes,
Yeah.
and then there's a bigger issue
Yeah.
because they've now lost their deadline. But yes, definitely having to read the email thoroughly, so thoroughly, and
Yeah.
don't respond immediately.
That's what I was gonna say. Don't go into
Yeah.
panic mode and just reply being like, "Oh my god, what have I done?" or "I'm so sorry." Um, Amazon aren't most receptive to kind of like emotions and things like that. You want to try and be kind of, factual and look at exactly
Yeah.
what it is that they want.
Yeah, definitely straightforward, concise, don't waffle,
Yeah.
and just literally, you know,
Yeah.
sit, read, assimilate what it is they want, take
Yeah.
note of the deadline, and if you can't work out what it is that they actually want, do go into the Seller Central area and have a look around, because it may be something so simple like a typo in your name or
Yeah.
address, or yeah,
And quite often, if it is something like, they need to verify bank details or they need you to confirm something, it will also be flagged in your Seller Central. So it will be highlighted in some way, or there'll be kind of an exclamation mark or something. So if you've got an idea from the email, but you're not quite sure, have a look at both and see, they probably correspond because they might have highlighted somewhere in your settings or your account information, exactly what the issue is.
mm. Cool. Well, hopefully that doesn't happen very often for people, but I'm sure it does happen. It's so easy to make a typo or
Yeah.
something like that when you do it. So, but there's also loads of different other ones, isn't there? There's IP violations. People copy over images from
Yeah.
Amazon and other places, and it's the copyright issue on that is really difficult. So yeah, mustn't copy images over.
No.
Create your own. And actually creating your own is great fun.
Yeah, it's another skill to gain, isn't it, when you're selling on Amazon? Yeah,
Definitely,
IP definitely is one that comes up the most often, I think.
definitely.
Um,
And one of the ones that I was really interested in was deleting the old inactive listings, because if you don't do that, there may be IP issues in the future. I mean, who would have thought
Yeah.
that that's going to happen?
I think it's keeping track of everything, just keeping a check on your inventory, whether you need to kind of make a note in your calendar to kind of review it every now and then.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
especially if you do then have an issue with a certain brand, for instance, you might have some inactive listings that were that brand that maybe, they're not live anymore, but just keep it clean, basically. So that what you've got there is what you need there effectively.
Yeah, and keeping your Seller Central whole thing clean really
Yeah.
is a good idea, isn't it? Brands as well. If you get contacted and there's a claim on a particular brand, you've got to have proof that you're able to sell that. Just going ahead and just buying a random thing and going, yeah, I can sell that, and you just stick it on your Amazon account, and then all of a sudden, no, you're suspended because of that. It's
Yeah.
such a shame for
Definitely.
people.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say, have a look at who sent the complaint. Is it the brand? If it is, then, unfortunately it's just that, that is unlucky. Maybe you have checked it out beforehand and maybe it's just a new kind of issue where the brand are protecting their IP rights, for example.
Yeah.
First of all, always reach out to the rights owner, because they might retract the complaint, and then, that's the best outcome, the best scenario. And obviously also make sure that you remove the stock and you close and you delete that listing and any others that you might have for that brand, because the chances are, those ones will start causing issues as well.
And also keep a note on emails from Amazon, because they do let you know, don't they, as well, when brands are being taken off of they will let you know the ones that are going to start causing the issues going forward, if there's a certain timeline, date, whatever that they've been told.
Just always make sure that you're kind of, you're checking your emails, you're checking your spam folder, just in case anything goes in there. You don't want to miss anything, especially something that's got, a 72-hour deadline. Sometimes we don't see them that often, but they do happen. So definitely keep a check on, your emails and make sure that you're responding to anything, or reading and then responding.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can always get a letter from them, from the brand as well, can't you? Just to say, look, I am able to sell this, so, please.
Yeah, a letter of authorization is perfect. Sometimes you can get them, sometimes you can't. If you know straight off the bat that, no, that's not going to happen, then obviously the other avenue is the best one to take. But if you have got that letter, then that's great.
Yeah, always helps, doesn't it? Makes life a lot easier.
Yeah,
getting your account unsuspended. And then we've got the inauthentic claims. Amazon wanting to know where you've purchased everything from, and even if it's from a third party, they want to know then, is it an authentic company?
Yeah.
So that's really interesting, the fact that you have to delve further. It's not just where you've purchased stuff from, it's also from your third party. Can they produce an invoice? Is it a proper authentic place that you've brought it from?
It's that whole supply chain, making sure that you've got a paper trail of everything. And I'm not just having a paper trail, it needs to be a legitimate paper trail that Amazon can verify. I feel like a bit of a broken record, but invoices, and they need to be proper invoices from verified suppliers. Kind of no buying off kind of eBay to sell, or I don't know, a car boot sale, or a yard sale if you're in the States, because you can't prove where you got that product from, because you don't know, because someone's just picked it up from somewhere and is selling it to you, and chances are you're not going to and even if you had an invoice for something like that, it's not a verified supplier.
No. And if you don't have your name and address that Amazon are used to, that can also cause a world of pain. Can't it? It's one of those things that's really important to make sure, as you say, invoices. It's so important to make sure that it's correct. It's got the amount of stuff on there. So if you bought buy one get one free, it's got it on there.
There's
so much that you
Like
need
you said,
to.
the name and address that's in your Seller Central, it needs to correspond. I know often they have kind of the, the billing address and the delivery address, and that's fine because people will get them delivered to different addresses. But that billing address or that business address needs to match your Seller Central. And then the supply, in terms of the supplier details, what they'll be looking for, is the name, the address, a telephone number, an email address, especially because what Amazon want to then be able to do with that invoice is go and verify that supplier. So call that supplier up effectively and say, we're checking to see that you are who you say you are and that this person has bought these goods from you to sell them. So yeah, super important. And don't wait until Amazon are asking for them. Make sure you're always getting them at the point of purchase.
Yeah. And keep them.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep them for a long time. We're suggesting 365 days because you never know what they're going to ask for. But the one that really I love is the counterfeit.
Oh, yeah.
Counterfeit complaints, is it off the back of a lorry? Are you selling counterfeit DVDs? I mean, really, that's so difficult to
I know.
to deal with, isn't it? You've got to be able to make sure that, again, you have the invoice. It's not counterfeit. It is a kosher thing to have actually been purchased. And
similar on the counterfeit front, it's kind of similar to IP. They kind of cross over a bit, and a lot of them again is about coming from the rights owner saying that product isn't genuine. So when you approach that one, it depends on the situation, but just having those invoices can help you in that scenario.
Absolutely, it can.
Doesn't necessarily mean I have the right to sell this product if it's the rights owner contacting you, but it can help in terms of proving that those products are genuine.
Yeah, definitely. And then, of course, there's the expired date. That's something you've got to be really careful of, isn't it? You sell it, you send it into Amazon Prep Center, you leave it there for 6 months or whatever, and all of a sudden the expiry date's gone. So before you actually send it, make sure you know what your expiry dates are, when it's going to happen, and pull that stock back if it's really close to the date, because the last thing you want to do is to get a suspension just because you've had an expired date on some chocolates. Or
it's again keeping tabs on your inventory, isn't it, and knowing kind of what stock you've got and the ones that will be affected by things like that, like the expiry date. Just a knowledge of your inventory as a whole, I would say, and making sure that, like you say, keeping it clean. So you're reviewing it, you're looking at your product offering, and if there's any action that you need to take.
Exactly. Because, at the same time as expired, there's also the used products. If you're trying to sell something as new and it's actually used already, keep a note of your inventory. Make sure you know that the stock, the products that you're actually selling are the correct description, basically. When you're setting up your product to sell, make sure that it's absolutely correct and not being sold incorrectly, because that will get you a suspension quicker than anything. Really,
and even if you think everything's okay, it's other processes in your business working right. So you might get the what we call the kind of product condition complaint, which is saying kind of used versus new, where customers are basically saying that your products appear to be used. And that doesn't necessarily mean, let's say, for example, it's a skincare product. It doesn't mean that product's open and it's got half of it missing. It could be the box has come open or the box is in really bad condition. So think about your processes within your business. So things like, that product has got to get from A to B, but with multiple steps in between. So things like your sourcing, listing the products, like you said, how are you describing the product? Is it an accurate description of what you're actually selling? And then the whole packing, prepping and shipping side of it. So a lot of them come from, yes, there's nothing wrong with the actual product, but would you be happy to receive the product as your customer has received it? So looking at the processes in your business and where you can maybe improve on things like that.
Definitely. At the end of the day, you should be always looking at your inventory, your prepping centers, everything, every single process that you go through should always be looked at, shouldn't it? You should always be updating it. You should always be looking at your feedback, looking at absolutely everything within your whole process. from purchasing the product that you want to sell straight through to getting the feedback from your customer. So there's a whole range of different things that you can be suspended for. And I just think that, hopefully this has been helpful to some people, so that they know that some of the things that they could be suspended for are what we've discussed.
Yeah.
But one thing that I wanted to say as kind of like an end thing is Amazon will suspend you until you can prove there is no basis to that particular claim. So if you've got the proof, the invoices, the knowledge and all of the details from start to finish, then you should be able to be okay, shouldn't you? You should be able to get your account unsuspended, and it should be done hopefully in a timely manner that you will be able to get your account back fast and intact.
Having that documentation makes a massive difference, because even just having a record of things proves that you're thinking about your processes and you're running a legitimate business, because you have a paper trail for things. And even if you have a paper trail and then something goes wrong, and maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because of an IP claim, but you do have the invoices for your product, doesn't always mean that you need to say, I haven't done this. Sometimes saying, I have done this is fine, but you need to kind of be able to illustrate what you're going to do to not do that again, basically. So showing an understanding of what you've done wrong in the first place, which all comes back down to reading that email, doesn't it?
It really does. It's full circle. So reading the email, understanding it, and then implementing whatever it is that you need to implement to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And that going forward, your processes are in place to ensure everything is correct and done properly.
And if you read that email and you're not sure, just ask us.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, email us at help@getunsuspended.com, join our Facebook group, ask the question in the Facebook group. We obviously can't do personal things because we would never do it in a public forum, but we can answer generic questions. Reach out to us. We will help people, and we have done. And it's so nice to receive those emails when we help people when they get their account unsuspended. It's just wonderful, isn't it? I know, I love it.
Really lovely. It's such a relief as well. It's people's businesses at the end of the day, isn't it? So that you've kind of, we've helped them get back up and running. So we will always give advice.
Yeah, definitely. So so for anyone watching, if you do need some advice, please do comment on this post, on this video, really, isn't it? It's not post. Comment on this video, put a message on our Facebook page, send us an email at help@getunsuspended.com, or reach out to myself or Kaylee. And it's been absolutely great talking to you, Kaylee, about all of this. So thank you for your time.
And I'll see you next time.
I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.